We're here with Mike Grell, legendary artist. Sorry, sir, legendary artist.
I am that old.
Well, I wouldn't say that, but now your style, very photorealistic. How'd you develop that style over the years?
Actually, when I first started out, I wanted to do Bigfoot type cartooning like Al Cap. I wanted to do the humor comic strips and stuff. But I was really impressed when a pal in the Air Force showed me copies of Green Lantern, Green Arrow that was done by Denny O'Neil, Neil Adams, and Dick Giordano. And right then and there, I decided that's the style that I wanted to work in. So I just started practicing and working on it. That led to a lot of other influences, Hal Foster, Bern Hogarth, guys like that, Gil Kane, Lord, I guess Gene Colan about that time, same time, or late 60s, early 70s kind of stuff. And it was just a question of something that appealed to me, where it was dramatically different from what I had grown up with in comic books. You know, in the 50s, Batman had a big giant square chin and a chest about the size of a barrel, right? And everybody's anatomically correct as a barrel would be. And then all of a sudden things changed, and I was surprised because I'd kind of gotten away from comics about the time I got interested in girls, which was pretty young in my case, but that was very typical. And to come back to it after, I was 23, I think, when I discovered that style was active in comics now, and I went, that's what I want to do.
Cool. Now, some of your early work is the Superboy and Legion of Superheroes stories, which are so fondly remembered by fans. What do you think it is about those particular books that fans really gravitate towards and remember even after all these years?
I've got a great answer for that, and it's really the simplest answer. The Legion of Superheroes is a very popular book with young readers. Its cast is made up of young people, relatively young people. It's not people in their 30s or 40s. It's youngsters, teenagers, and early 20s. Lots of different characters, different bright costumes and everything else. And a book like that attracts young readers. And you'll find that over the years, comic readers, hardcore collectors, guys who've been collecting comics for 40 years, their favorite comic is always going to be the one that they picked up first.
Now, going off of that, you of course had a phenomenal run on Green Arrow. You did work on Green Arrow and Green Lantern as well. Now that's, like you just told us, that's a book that kind of got you interested and got you hooked into doing your whole style. Yes. Was that something you kind of like, wow, I've really made it now that I'm working on that book that sort of started me off?
Oh, it was a real kick in the pants. It was. I happened to be at DC's office the day that they decided to resurrect the title. I had already done backup stories, 7-page backup stories of Green Lantern and Green Arrow separately, but never together. And I heard the rumor floating around in the hallways that Denny O'Neil was going to resurrect the title. And I went straight to him and I said, who do I have to kill? and he said, if you want it that bad, you can have it. So that's how I wound up doing that book. And it was like culmination for me. It was like, wow, can't get much better than that.
Going back to Warlord, that's another character that stayed resonant through DC history. Fans really gravitate towards it. They actually adapted him to an episode of Justice League Unlimited. Did you have a chance to check that out? Did you like what they did there?
Yes, I did, and I liked it a lot. I thought they were very faithful to the material. I thought they tried to do a little bit much in the episode, but they covered all the bases, and it was really good. It's quite entertaining. I liked it a lot.
That's pretty cool. That's good. Creator loves the work that they did. And speaking of creators, you mentioned that you killed off Warlord. He's dead now, isn't he?
Yes, he's dead, and I burned the body. So unlike every other, oh gosh, he's dead, come back next issue, in this case, he really is dead. I planted the seed for that story in the very first issue of The Warlord. I planned it right from the start, how he was going to die, who was going to kill him, and why he was going to be killed. And if you read the issues, it's all in there, and it pays off there in issue 12 of the new series. I was inspired a lot by Hal Foster and Prince Valiant, because Foster always wanted to kill off Prince Valiant and hand off to his son. The great thing, it's sort of an iconic archetype of the son fulfilling the dreams of the father, right? Or making good where the father failed. Not in this case, it's maybe a little Michael Corleone, but it's but it's still in that kind of a vein, where the father has he started off with all these great plans and then lost his way, planted the seeds of hope in everybody's minds, and then just wandered off and had fun swinging his sword and never fulfilled the dream. And his son has grown up in the world that should have been different, should have been better if his father had actually done that. So in some fashion, it's also a little like Arthur and Mordred.
Now, going back to Green Arrow, you got a long history with this character, and you're actually one of the first people to do a sort of grim and gritty book with the Longbow Hunters. Why did you decide to take that character into the more realistic realms?
One of the things that I always liked about Green Arrow was that he doesn't have a superpower. He has a superior skill, but it's a skill that you could learn. If you went out and bought yourself a bow today, in a month you'd be splitting arrows. You go broke from all the arrows that you split. Practice shooting 100 arrows a day, you can learn archery. It's a physical skill, but anybody can learn it. It's simple and easy. I also like the way the character was portrayed under Denny O'Neill's regime, where he was a counterpart to Green Lantern. Green Lantern is the law. The law is the law is the law is the law. And Green Arrow is Robin Hood. He's more about justice than he is about the law. So that had a strong appeal to me. And when Mike Gold called me up and asked me if there was a character that I liked at DC enough to bury the hatchet and come back to work over there, I said, well, actually, first I said I thought I had always done such a crummy job on Batman that I'd like to get another shot at it, except I also knew that Frank Miller was working on Dark Knight at the time. He was just starting to write it. And I said, when Frank's done, that's going to be the period at the end of the Batman sentence for the next 20 years. It's like more like 30 now. So he said, what about Green Arrow? I went, my favorite character in comics. He said, think about this, Green Arrow as an urban hunter. And I went, yep, that's it. But I wanted to make some changes. I wanted to take him out of Star City, out of the mythical Star City, put him in a real world city where I could deal with real issues, with real stories about real people doing real crimes, and take away the trick arrows. The boomerang arrow was just plain stupid. I don't know if you ever had a boomerang as a kid, but I did, and I threw it, and it came back and damn near killed me.
Why would you want an arrow coming back?
Yeah. Why would you? Who would design an arrow that would come back and kill you? No, not a good idea. So I stripped him of all of that, all the trick stuff, moved him to Seattle. It's a case of you have to draw on what you know. I mean, if you're going to write something, a good writer, a story is 10% plot, 20% characterization, and 70% whatever the writer knows best. And city is a character. The city has to be a character in the story. So I was living in Seattle at the time. I knew Seattle. That's why that particular location.
Now you also switched sides. You went to Marvel for a little bit a couple years ago, and you got a chance to write Iron Man. And then you revealed, revealed Tony Stark to be Iron Man.
Yes, I did.
One, how did you come up with that idea? What made you want to go in that direction?
The stories have become more about the suit and less about the man. I wanted it to be more about the man, about what drove him. I gave him back the inherent weakness that he has of the heart. The suit needs to be recharged every 24 hours. They had gotten away from that. I wanted to establish the fragility of the man inside of that armor. And the thing about the armor is that it not only protects him from danger, but it isolates him from the rest of the world. everybody that he cares about. He puts on that armor, and they're shut out. They can't get in next to him. With the editors, I discussed revealing his secret identity, and they went, "Yeah, well, how would you do that? Would we have some like great plot where the president of the United States is about to push the button and blow up the world or something like that?" And no, it's got to be a human story. It's got to be something simple and understandable to where he makes that choice purely on his own personal human emotions, not on a Iron Man. I'm Iron Man. I'll save the world by ripping my mask off. That's not the kind of heroism that I thought the character needed. So I had him reveal his secret identity by saving a puppy dog from getting run over in the street. He can do it, or he can stand there and watch this little boy watch his little dog get run over and killed. And for him, it was an instant decision and took no judgment whatsoever. I caught hell for that.
Really?
Oh yeah. The readers hated it. Yeah, readers hated it. Notice I'm not on the book anymore. I think that may have had a little bit to do with it. Robert Downey Jr. cast as Iron Man was perfect.
Oh, yeah.
A terrific Tony Stark, because in that movie, you never lost track of the fact that the man is inside there. That character, that personality stayed throughout. They did a great job. Excellent script, great direction, and just a terrific acting job.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thanks, Ken.